My name is Jason. I am 33 years old. Before last year, I was alone. I had no girlfriend. But then, last year, something changed. I met Sarah. It was one of those random encounters that end up feeling like destiny. We bumped into each other at a coffee shop. She was sitting at a table by the window, reading a book, and I was waiting for my coffee. The moment I saw her, I knew I had to talk to her. "Excuse me," I said, nervously approaching her table. "Do you mind if I sit here? The place is packed, and I'm running out of options." She looked up, smiled, and nodded. "Sure, go ahead." We started talking, and one conversation led to another. Before I knew it, we had exchanged numbers, and what started as a casual meeting turned into regular dates, texts, and phone calls. We clicked in a way I had never experienced before. She was funny, smart, and kind, and I found myself falling for her quickly. For the first time in years, I felt like I had finally found someone who understood me, someone who was the missing piece I never knew I needed. We were inseparable for months, and everything seemed perfect. But then, things began to change. Sarah started pulling away. She wasn't as responsive to my texts, and when we hung out, there was a noticeable distance between us. It wasn't dramatic, but I could feel it. I asked her if everything was okay, and she always said she was just busy. I believed her. I didn't want to overthink things, but the signs were hard to ignore. One evening, after a quiet dinner, I walked her home, and she kissed me goodbye. But as I turned to leave, I saw a guy waiting for her outside her building. He was tall, wearing a leather jacket, and his presence was a bit too familiar. I didn't recognize him, but he seemed to know her well. The way they spoke and laughed with each other made me uneasy. I tried to shake it off, but I couldn't. Over the next few weeks, I noticed more strange things. Sarah would cancel plans last minute, sometimes give vague excuses, and there was always this hidden smile she had when she spoke about her friend, who was always around. I started asking myself a question that I never thought I'd ask. Is she cheating on me? It wasn't until one night, when I was at a party with friends, that everything came crashing down. Sarah had been invited, and I was excited to introduce her to everyone. But when I looked around the room, I saw her, sitting in the corner, laughing and flirting with that same guy from outside her building. That's when I realized my worst fear was true. Sarah was cheating on me. I confronted her the next day. I asked her directly, "Sarah, are you seeing someone else?" She didn't answer right away. Her face turned pale, and she looked down at the floor, unable to meet my gaze. Finally, she admitted it. "Yes, Jason. I'm sorry." I was heartbroken, couldn't believe it. All the trust one had built with her, all the plans we had made together, gone in an instant. I didn't know how to feel. Part of me was angry, but another part of me was just lost. I couldn't understand why she had done it. We were happy, weren't we? As the days passed, I tried to understand what had happened. I asked myself, why do women cheat? What drove Sarah, someone I thought I knew so well, to betray me like that? I talked to friends and read articles trying to find answers. Some said it was because she wasn't happy, that maybe she felt neglected or unappreciated. Others claimed it was a need for excitement, that some people just get bored in a relationship and look for something new. But then, I spoke to a woman named Laura, a friend of a friend, who helped me see things differently. "Jason," she said, "it's not always about what's lacking in the relationship. Sometimes, it's about what's missing in the person." She explained that some women and men cheat because they're seeking validation. They don't feel secure in themselves, and the attention they get from someone else makes them feel desired and wanted. Others cheat because they're afraid of being vulnerable, and rather than confronting their problems head-on, they run from them by seeking comfort in someone else. "It's not an excuse," she said, "but it's a reality. Cheating often has nothing to do with the person they're with, but everything to do with what they're struggling with internally." Those words stuck with me. I thought about them long after I ended things with Sarah. I realized that, in her own way, Sarah might have been seeking something she wasn't getting from me. But that didn't justify what she did. It didn't make it hurt any less. I learned the hard way that relationships aren't always what they seem. Sometimes, we invest all our time and energy into someone, thinking they're our forever person, only to find out they're just passing through. And sometimes, people cheat not because they don't love you, but because they're lost in their own insecurities and struggles. Today, I'm in a better place. I've had time to reflect, to heal, and to understand that the reason behind someone's betrayal doesn't always give me closure. The important thing is that I've learned from it. I've learned what I deserve in a relationship, and that trust is something I will never take for granted again. And Sarah? I hope she finds the peace she's looking for. But for me, I'm done chasing answers. I just want to find someone who values honesty, trust, and love. So why do women cheat? Maybe it's because they're not feeling seen, or maybe they're fighting battles within themselves that they don't know how to communicate. But at the end of the day, it's a reminder that relationships take work, trust, and open communication. If any of those things are missing, things can go wrong, quickly. It's a painful lesson, but one I'll never forget. As I moved on from that painful chapter, I realized something crucial. It wasn't just about Sarah or the betrayal itself, it was about understanding the dynamics of relationships in general. Why do women cheat? Why do men cheat? It's not always clear-cut and every situation is different, but there are patterns and reasons that tend to repeat themselves. After some time, I met Mia. She was different. From the very beginning, we had open conversations. No games, no pretending to be someone we weren't. We talked about our fears, our hopes, our past experiences, and most importantly, what we both wanted from a relationship. I wasn't looking to rush into anything, but I did want something real, something built on trust and communication. Mia had been in a long-term relationship before, and she opened up about the challenges she faced. She shared how her ex had neglected her emotional needs, always putting his work first, making her feel like an afterthought. And even though she loved him, she started seeking attention elsewhere, not because she didn't care, but because she didn't know how to address the emotional void in a healthy way. Listening to her, I began to understand more deeply why people cheat. It's not always a matter of a lack of love, but more often a result of unmet emotional needs. People cheat because they feel unimportant, overlooked, or unappreciated. And sometimes, they don't know how to communicate those feelings without fear of rejection or judgment. The more I reflected on Sarah's situation, the more I realized that our relationship wasn't just about us. It was also about our ability to connect and communicate our emotions, fears, and desires. Sarah might have felt ignored or unsatisfied in certain areas of our relationship, but instead of talking to me, she turned to someone else. And that, in the end, was her way of coping with her inner struggles. It's easy to think that cheating happens only because someone is selfish or because they don't care. But often, it's because they are hurting in ways they can't express. People who cheat might not even understand why they're doing it. They might be seeking affirmation or love in all the wrong places, but at the core, they're seeking something that they feel is missing in their own lives. Mia's honesty made me realize that we all have our vulnerabilities, our own needs, and our own fears. As our relationship grew, we worked hard to be transparent with each other. We had tough conversations about what we expected from each other and, more importantly, what we were willing to give. We made sure we were always checking in on each other, not just on the surface level, but truly connecting emotionally. Mia also taught me that while we can't control what someone else does, we can control how we show up in the relationship. If we're not nurturing the emotional bond, then it's easy for one or both partners to feel neglected. It's not enough to just say, "I love you." It's about showing it in everyday actions, through empathy, support, and understanding. In the end, I realized that trust is fragile. It's built over time, but it can be shattered in an instant. And once it's broken, it's incredibly difficult to rebuild. I know now that for any relationship to thrive, there must be mutual respect, open communication, and a deep commitment to understanding each other's emotional needs. Why do women cheat? Why do men cheat? The answer isn't simple, and it's not always about a lack of love. It's about the complexities of human emotions, the challenges of life, and the ways in which we try to find comfort when we feel lost. But as I've learned through my own experiences, the key to preventing that kind of betrayal isn't about perfection. It's about vulnerability, honesty, and making a real effort to be there for each other in every way possible. Now, I'm more cautious, more aware of the importance of nurturing a relationship from the inside out. Mia and I are doing great, and we continue to learn and grow together. But no matter how good things are now, I'll always remember the lessons.